Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and we are ready for the final flip through. After many months of making, we have finally finished my series, 30 Ways to Decorate a Junk Journal. There is a playlist, JJJ30, where all the videos are listed, and as I flip through this journal, I will give you the number for each one. So if you want to grab a pen and paper, or you think, oh, I might want to try one of those this week, you can jot down the number, and then saves you having to scroll through the entire playlist. So cover, of course, was episode or part 30. Making the charms was part 29. And now let's just open this up and we'll start walking through everything we did. Let me just get those out of the way for a minute. Okay, so the inside cover was part 14. I created a pocket after collaging down a heap of beautiful magazine images, sticking them down on a piece of cardstock, and then cutting out around the flowers to make this unique shape. Simple idea, great way to use up pretty images that you get from magazines and things like that. Then the first cover page was part 17. The idea of this was just to add some collage from magazines and things like that, and to add this cute little nameplate. You could put your name, the dates, whatever information you like in a journal if you're making it, using anything like that. Just sort of filling up that page with lots of prettiness. Then the next one, this here was making all the tabs. I've made quite a few through here, and that was episode 24. So it'll include all these fun little bits that are sticking out the sides. Then the next one here, this is the very first episode, I made a master board so that I had something to create bits and pieces with. And then with this one, I cut out a frame, added some sewing, a few other bits and pieces, and master boards are a great way to make frames. So that was episode number 2. This was one of the more recent ones. It's an over the page double pocket. I made this, other than the base where I did use some sewing pattern, everything else was simply made from magazines, and that is episode number 28. And of course that flips over on both sides. Then this one here, this was a freebie from Ink and Page. Loved this paper. It's just so pretty, all these moons and stars. So that was part 11, and the details of how you can subscribe to her mailing list to receive freebies will be in the listing. Then we have another freebie that I used for this middle page. This is from Victoria Designs. It's part 25. And beautiful sort of garden themed pieces. So we created a page with a brick wall to sort of feel a bit garden sheddy type thing, and ended up making all this pretty ephemera too from that. Absolutely love that little kit. It's so cute. This was another one of the early ones. This is a simple flip up and flip down using magazine images on cardstock, and then adding a little selection of note papers in there, so you could use that as an easy hidden journaling spot. Then over the page, this one was using colouring book images, not coloured, on cardstock or black to create a junk journal spread. This also included a paper bag as a pocket. So very, very simple. That was episode 21. Then this one here was using magazines and your die cuts to create some very unique die cuts that you can use, and I just created a tuck spot with that, and of course a cute little journaling card as well. So you might not like an image in a magazine, but when you die cut it out, it actually ends up as something very pretty. So that was part 23. Then this one here was a very simple, very basic hidden paper clip, which was episode or part 3. Included this cute little girl in the pocket and a little journaling card. This was all cut from a Daphne's diary. If I haven't convinced you of anything else in this series, invest in Daphne's diary if you want pretty things for your journal. It's a very worthy investment. The amount of things you can cut out of them for the price you pay, I think in Australia, what do we pay, $14 or something? I don't know, but honestly, it's so worth it. But on to the next one. This one was making a journal card with some mixed media. So I did use a piece of the masterboard that we made in part 1, and then I used some texture paste and some green watercolour and a very pretty flower that I cut out from a magazine, backed it onto cardstock to give it some strength, even added a little bit of glitter to that one because I like sparkly things. And that was part 16. There we go. Then this one here is a pocket belly band. So this, now what part was this? This is part 4. And there's all little pockets built on to the belly band. So you can fill it full of very pretty little things. And of course, slip a journaling card. Again, just made this with some magazine cutouts. Great for backgrounds too, magazines. Don't always just look at the pictures. Sometimes the patterns are great. It's just like having cardstock. All you have to do is add it to some plain cardboard, leftover packaging. Pick whatever you want, but always go through your magazine with a very fine-tooth comb before you throw it in the bin. This little bit was one of my clusters that was part of, I'm having a mental blank here, all the little tabs. This was one of those, so that's included in part 24. Then the next thing here is a tassel bookmark. Tassels are delightful things, but they can be annoying if they're attached to a journal. This way, if you want to get rid of it, you can just get your tassel out of the way. You can also, of course, use it as a bookmark. So that was episode 26. Then this next one here is a pocket flip. You have flippy bits and you have pocket bits and more flippy bits and more pockets. And it just sort of keeps going. It's a bit magical. I quite like these. This was fun to do. I had to do this as part of a swap for my creative collab journaling that I did last year, and I thought I would make one to show you how to do it. And that was episode 15. Of course, another one of the tabs. Then this is part 18. This is my last video, the one that I sort of accidentally forgot along the way. But delightful freebie from Tracy Fox Creative. Made a cute little notebook. Then the next one, this one here, was creating an instant masterboard using a magazine image. Often in home style magazines, they will have gorgeous collages of fabrics, maybe paint, whatever it may be. Cut one of those out. I did glue down a couple of little bits of extra ephemera, but there's an instant masterboard. If you take that out of a magazine, pop it onto some cardstock, and just for something fun, I made this one round instead of the regular squares and rectangles. And of course, I made some matching journaling cards using the same paper. Even added a bit of lace to that one. Now, that was part 20. Then the next one was a giant journaling card. With the help of a little tab, becomes basically a page marker or bookmark. These would also be a lovely sort of thing you could make for a friend. This was backed onto some Daphne's Diary cover, but absolutely beautiful on the back. If you wanted to make them as journaling cards, use packaging. Make sure you put your things that you glue down on the printed side. You'll have a lovely blank on the back, and you could make bookmarks for your friends. So they're fun to do, and I just loved the giant size of this one. And that was episode 22. Still got a few little bits of blank here, but not too many pages. Then another idea, this one here, was to use ephemera. For example, this is the label from a wine bottle. Whether you pick up a pretty business card or a brochure from somewhere you've been, in this case a wine bottle, I've created a page using that as the ephemera. There's also a little tuck spot if you wanted to add details about where you were or what you loved about the product. This is just a fun way to memory keep. And that is episode 12. Into the next one. This one here, we made a very simple shaker tag, coffee themed because I like coffee, using a little piece of vellum and some little cutouts from a magazine, even a little bit of stamping. That's a very easy project to do, and that was part 19. This one here, I used a takeaway coffee cup to make a little pot, so to speak, and then simply cut out all these little images from magazines, and then use some blue cut-in strips just to give a bit of interest to the sky. That was in part 7. This one here is a loaded belly band. So basically it's just a simple belly band where you add layers of pretty things. I did use a few little scraps, some bits from magazines, and you can just use up all your little scraps. Like this was a tiny little leftover piece of doily because I often use them in halves instead of wasting the other half. So loaded belly bands, easy to make. That was part 10. This center spread, this was called Afternoon Tea. It was episode number 8. Just loved making this one. Used images from a book and magazines. Cut out my own doilies with die cuts. Even added a little bit of texture paste on these. And absolutely love how that turned out. Another one of the tabs, that's in part 24, making tabs. And then I die cut out the tea and coffee cups. So love that one. That one, yeah, sorry, part 8. I think I already mentioned that. Then the next one here is a sewn pocket. Cut this pretty piece out of a magazine. I just quickly hand sewed around the edge because I wanted a pretty green and I didn't have a sewing thread in a colour that I liked. And I also just wanted to highlight the fact there's no reason why you can't hand sew things if you don't have a sewing machine. I've got a real button here. And then to create the pocket, you just put it on a flap. Of course, we have a cute little journaling card inside there with a tiny bit of lace added. So making an actual pocket, looking pocket. I loved doing that one, and that was part 13. Then over here, I just have a sewing themed pocket. This was a freebie. The details of where I got that from are in that post, and that is part 13. I also used a magazine image of some cross stitch and backed it onto some paper, and of course created a cute little journaling card. Even added a little bobbin print with some real thread on it just to make it look super authentic. Then the next one is a multi-pocket envelope. So when you glue down the pocket, you create 2 tuck spots. The envelope itself becomes a tuck spot. And then you have another tuck spot hiding under here. Great for some hidden journaling. And that was part 9. This one, part 27, a very simple top tuck. Any pretty image that you've got, add a little bit of deco to it. I didn't even back this onto anything because it's not down the bottom. It's not going to be under pressure to hold the journaling card in place. I didn't even bother. I just put it down the way it was. And of course I did use our masterboard from part 1, added a few more little bits from a magazine and a birthday card, and that makes a very simple top tuck. And guess what? That's it. We are all done. Thank you so much if you followed me from the beginning of this journey. I've never tackled anything quite like this on my channel. No doubt there will be more of these down the track when I've decided exactly what we're going to do. But that is it. 30 great value ways to make pretty things without blowing your budget. I really hope you enjoyed this series. And until my next video, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.